Hello everyone, it's Peppermint Painting. Today I'm going to share some drawings I made with you. I'm busy with the Inktober challenge, and this is basically just a bunch of artists getting together and drawing ink drawings in October. So if you haven't done an ink drawing in the last few weeks or months, or if you've literally just done an ink drawing yesterday, come pick up a pen and join me. There is a prompt list on the official Inktober website if you want to get more inspiration. The first prompt is crystals. I'm literally just starting off by doing a basic sketch to plan out my composition and really make the piece feel alive. I'm drawing a hand holding a crystal and some other crystals or stones floating around. It's supposed to be kind of whimsical. I started drawing and just let the pen do all the work. There is no need to think about the hues or saturations. It's just light and dark values, which makes it a lot less difficult and a lot less stressful than most of the other painting parts. You can just focus on one thing at a time. I find it's really interesting to see how many different types of stones and crystalline structures exist, and to think about the fact that every one of them is made of different molecules that act together in a very specific way to make this specific result. It's so beautiful to see some almost transparent glass-like crystals and others with speckles and dots in them and others that are almost just stones. It's gorgeous to see what's all around us in nature and what exists, that we may experience it and may see the true beauty in it. After drawing all the stones, I started by outlining the basic shapes and folds in the hand. And then I decided that there was a need for more movement and magic in the piece, so I added small diamond-shaped particles floating around and in between the crystals. This gave the piece a lot of movement and character and excitement. By also adding some swirls and stripes, I was able to really complete the background to make it feel interesting and not just like random floating rocks. And then I went forward with shading the hand. I was trying to get an effect of the crystals emitting some light and light sources coming from different perspectives and places, which was difficult but a lot of fun to really think about how the light would act on the surfaces of the skin and how it would bounce around differently on different areas. When I felt like I had finished the piece, there was nothing left to do but to sign it and call it a day. Day 2's prompt is suit. Suits often let you think of suiting a situation or a business suit. For this image, there were a lot of ideas floating around in my head, but I settled on a picture from a film by Leonard and Sanda Studio. It's a hand sitting on some knitting supplies. The hand is wearing a spectacularly tailored suit and looking quite ravishing. Here I started with adding hatching in the darkest spots and then slowly building up the color. It really helps to draw in this way because then you know what your darkest values are and what your lightest values are and can draw accordingly for the rest of the piece. The suit is quite cute, in my opinion, especially the big button in front and the little teeny tiny pockets on the sides really give it a lot of character. With this semi-realistic piece, it is important to not forget to add some shadow to ground the piece and to let it feel like it could actually exist. Especially at the end, I realized I needed a little bit more punch and contrast, so I added a few rows of cross-hatching over the entire jacket to pull it away from the rest of the pieces in the drawing. And I also intensified some of the shadows to make everything pop. Day 3's theme is vessel. You can of course think of a vessel holding something or carrying something across a certain distance, or about blood vessels. I took the latter approach, and I'm very glad I did, because I've never drawn blood vessels before, and it was so interesting to see the way that they curve around the bones in the hand and really look like jumbled up string, but also pretty jumbled up string. They remind me a lot of the way that vines grow and curve around trees. It's so beautiful to see how harmonic nature is and how many pretty patterns it can create. Found it interesting that the veins run alongside the fingers and thereby differ a lot from the way that we might think about them. It's also really cool to see how they branch off into so many small sections and parts to really give oxygen to every single cell in the hand, that we can feel and touch and experience life. Even though it is sort of just a biological image, it looks fantastical and magical because it's something we don't see every day, and it's something we don't consider every day. But it's so beautiful because there's no rigid mathematical structure about it, but rather a lot of character and organicness in the way that the veins and arteries curve around bones and flesh and muscle. The last prompt of drawings that I'm going to share with you today is not. This is a very interesting one because we've all at least made some knots in our lives. Most of them as shoelaces, but some also in other regards. Maybe the knots on a ship, if you're a sailor, or knotting our own fingers, if you're extremely flexible. I didn't even know people could do this before really doing the research, but apparently some people are extremely agile and can curve around their limbs and segments to form very interesting shapes. For this drawing, I started with the basic pencil sketch beforehand and then just really focused on shadow and line work. I really wanted to create a lot of depth in the different parts and aspects of the hand to make it feel more cohesive and interesting to look at. It's so cool to see all the different folds on the lower part and the smooth, shinier surfaces on the fingers. I think a knotted hand can be very symbolic if you want to interpret it in that way and see the way that we knot ourselves when we try to achieve others' expectations of us. Well, signing off the last artwork of this week. I hope you've enjoyed my drawings, and I hope a spectacular week awaits you in the following days. Happy drawing and painting, everyone!